The army of Chucky has arisen! Hey there, it's Kristen, and today we're talking about the final episode of Season 1 in Syfy's Chucky series. Chucky's evil plan is in motion. He's elevated himself from a cult to an army of Chuckies. So the last episode ended with Junior killing his dad by bludgeoning him to death with Chucky, and now Andy is at his front door trying to see if he can find Jake and find out where Chucky is. So Junior lets Andy in, and we get a couple of little nods to the past. For instance, they walk into the bathroom and there's a bubble bath, and it really brings to mind Tiffany's death. She died in a bubble bath. They're looking for Chucky, who is conveniently hiding in the grossest place possible, the toilet bowl. I think we're able to figure out, based off of what happened last week, but they solidify in this episode that Chucky's whole plan was that he needed to corrupt an innocent in order to bring to life this army of Chucky dolls.
Kid, thank you. Finally. You have no idea how hard it's been getting one of you little shits to step up and play.
And now that his plan has gone through, it's time for everyone to kind of team up. So Chucky and Junior go meet up with Tiffany and Nika and all the other Chucky dolls. It was funny to see the Chucky army actually come to life. I know this is something that Don Mancini has been wanting to do for a really long time, and to see that brought to fruition is really fun, and it was just cool to see all the different Chuckies talking to each other and asking questions. But of course, you know, there's always some kind of drama between Chucky and Tiffany. So at first, what was a welcome reunion turns into a bit of an argument, especially when Chucky and Chucky Nika start bonding. We also get some more Easter egg drops to the fact that Chucky has killed Tiffany a bunch of times.
This'll make, how many times have I killed you? Is it 3? No, 4. 4 if you count human bodies and doll bodies.
And also the look on Andy's face when he killed Andy's babysitter.
You should have seen the look on his face when I whacked his babysitter.
And when Chucky ends up finding out that Nika is still inside Nika Chucky, he is not cool with that, and he wants Tiffany to kill her, but she's really warmed up to Nika and doesn't want to do that. And so she actually turns on the doll Chucky and kills him. But I mean, joke's on her, there's like 70-something other Chuckies around. We also find out in a flashback that this is not the first time that Tiffany has stabbed Chucky in the back. And in fact, she called Detective Mike Norris on Chucky in that very first film.
I'd like to speak to Detective Mike Norris, please. I have some information on the Lakeshore Strangler.
It does kind of mess a little bit with some other things in the timeline that we learned in like the Curse of Cult of Chucky era, but maybe Tiffany was just one of several calls that went out that day. We get another reference to Glenn/Glenda.
What's that?
Isn't it cute? My darling Glenda gave it to me. They have exquisite taste.
They all go off to set the rest of the plan in motion, which is that Tiffany, aka Jennifer Tilly, is that special guest that the mayor has for the Frankenstein screening. And their plan is to give away all of these Chucky dolls to sick kids in America. So these kids that are already struggling now are going to have a murderous doll after them. And while this is all happening, Andy and Kyle somehow know where to go to find Devin. It looks like Andy's gonna save Devin, but then Kyle accidentally sets off this booby trap that was set, and the house explodes, and it's like, oh my gosh, did any of these people make it out alive? And throughout all of this, Jake and Lexi have been on the outside because Kyle didn't want them to get hurt, so she drugged them so that they would fall asleep and not be in on the action. But everyone comes together for a big face-off at the movie theater. One of the first standoffs we see is with Junior and Lexi and Chucky. Junior is talking about how he was afraid of everything, and Chucky taught him how to be a man. And you know, it was just really interesting to see that Junior was the one that became the killer in this scenario. You know, he came from a little bit more of a privileged life than Jake, and Jake really had all the terrible things happening to him at the beginning of this season. You could sort of see him turning into this darker side. He sort of had that strength to pull through and be one of the good guys, whereas Junior let all of that get to him and kind of brought out that weakness of, okay, let's go the easy route, let's kill people to fix our situation. And in the conversation with Lexi and Junior, it just seems like he kind of wants her to be the Tiffany to his Chucky. And she gives this like heartfelt speech about how, you know, he is a good guy, and that's what she always liked about him. And you really see that Lexi has changed over the course of the season. And I think that bit of hope really helps Junior, especially when Chucky's like, all right, just kill her. just kill her, kill Lexi. And, this is someone that he actually really did love and care about, even though she could be very difficult at times. And so that has him turn on Chucky. And I think that definitely shows a difference between them. Chucky doesn't care about hurting Tiffany, whereas Junior really does care about Lexi. We also see Chucky starting to cause this like mass chaos in the movie theater by stabbing people under their seats and killing them. I don't know exactly how realistic that is, but like knives were like going from like under the seat, like through their stomachs. The knife didn't look that big, but I mean, movie magic, I guess. And now Jake and Devin are finally there to stop him. It was interesting to hear Chucky's kind of thought process, I guess, about this whole movie theater massacre, which was that people are only going to remember my name. They're only going to remember my body count. They're only going to remember this army of Chuckies. They're not even going to remember what Hackensack is. Obviously, he's got some big ego issues there.
Chucky, you really need to get over yourself. You are the most self-involved man I have ever met in my entire life.
Chucky also gives a little shout out to that Damballa chant.
How could a little doll possibly be so strong?
Doesn't make any sense!
You're nothing against the power of the great almighty Damballa! You dare defy the almighty Damballa!
But when Chucky insults Devin, Jake is like, I'm not having this. He squeezes him to death so intensely that his eyeballs pop out, which was a crazy death. So they've defeated Chucky, but what about all these dolls? What about Tiffany? It's not over yet, right? So as these kids run outside to try to stop this truck of Chuckies going off to the world and, being sent off to all these kids in need, they see that Andy is actually the one driving the truck. Tiffany's car has stopped working, so she can't go after him. And he's driving off, ready to destroy all those dolls. But in another twist, we get a special cameo from the Tiffany doll, who pops out with a little gun and is like, if you know what's good for you, you better keep on driving to that airport.
Andy, I don't think we've had the pleasure. I'm Tiffany, the doll, not the person. It's complicated.
So that was a really exciting cameo. So we end on that little bit of a cliffhanger, and then we get a bit of a wrap-up of what happened to everyone. Tiffany decides that the best way to keep Nika around versus Chucky is to amputate Nika's arms and legs, which I think went a bit far. That was really messed up. And also, does that really even make sense? When we were watching the scenes, it was really like blood that triggered Nika to come back. Like whenever she saw blood, or like if someone was killed, all of a sudden Nika returned. So I don't know if that really makes sense, that like amputating Nika would make Chucky disappear. The kids all go to the cemetery to say goodbye to all the Wheelers, and they don't blame Junior for what happened. They blame Chucky. Miss Fairchild is there, which I thought was weird. I didn't understand why the teacher would be the one helping them with that stuff. I guess she was kind of the only person that was really there for them that's left, but she didn't really have a very large role, so I'm wondering if that is a little bit of a hint of like a Glenda situation, or that they just needed like a safe adult to be able to like help take care of these kids. And then we also see a mysterious gloved hand on the tree, and I'm like, who could this be? Could it be someone from the past? Is it someone that we thought maybe died and really didn't? I mean, we never really saw Kyle's body. This could be her return. This could be a hint that Tiffany is still after them. Maybe this is like a Glenn or a Glenda, or maybe throwing it all the way back to maybe Andy's mom or Detective Mike Norris. There's really a lot of places they can go with it, especially since the hand is gloved. One thing that I think would be really cool, though, is if it's that mysterious man who we were introduced to that originally inspired Chucky to become a killer. I think that would be really cool if he came back and like had a bigger part in the story. So that's my hope. But I'd love to hear what you guys think. Who is this mysterious gloved person? And then we end in a very goofy way where they kind of pull back and we see Chucky was sort of telling us this story in front of a fireplace, and he recounts the brilliant authors like Mancini, and he looks back at the death count. And we did get a lot of things answered, but it's like none of this was a happy ending. But what happened to Andy and the Chucky dolls? Lucky for us, Chucky has been picked up for a season 2. Hopefully they'll answer some more questions, dive deeper into the story, give us answers to what happened with Andy and the dolls. Who is this mysterious person with a glove. So I cannot wait to talk about it with you guys. It's supposed to be coming out in 2022. When it comes down to it, I think Chucky did a brilliant job of bringing us a new story while also backtracking and giving us more history on this legendary killer. They did a really great job of balancing the humor and the horror. There were times where it's just like, this is so funny, it's like ridiculous. And just paying really close attention to those Easter eggs and references, and they just did a really phenomenal job. And I think I personally enjoyed the show even more than the movies, I think because we were able to dive deeper and go back and really explore the stories more. I had so much fun watching this season of Chucky and just really diving into the story and getting into the nitty-gritty with you guys. So I appreciate you joining me each week. I would love to hear your thoughts on this final episode of Chucky, and what did you think about the entire season? Make sure to leave a comment down below and let me know. Consider subscribing if you like my videos, and if you want to talk more TV and movies with me outside of the comments section, check out the exclusive Discord available on my Patreon at patreon.com/kmaldo. If you like this one, you can check out more of my videos right over here. See ya!